Feminist theories of the family. There are four major views in feminism on the family: liberal feminist, Marxist feminist, radical feminist, and difference feminism. Liberal feminists. Liberal feminists are concerned with campaigning against sexual discrimination. They do this by impacting laws and opinions. For example, the Sex Discrimination Act of 1975. They suggest there's been gradual movement towards greater equality. Sons and daughters are now being socialised to recognise greater equality between genders, and women have more opportunities. Marxist feminists suggest women are oppressed by capitalism. Women reproduce the labour force and socialise the next generation of workers whilst maintaining the current workforce through domestic labour. Women are a reserve army of cheap labour when extra workers are needed, for example part-time working. Women absorb anger from the frustrated working class workforce. Radical feminists suggest that all families are founded on patriarchy. Men are the enemy. They are the source of women's oppression and exploitation. Family and marriage are the key institutions. Men benefit from women's unpaid labour and from their sexual services. The family is at the root of women's oppression, must be abolished through separatism. Women must organise themselves to live independently of men to ensure that they have freedom. Germaine Greer argues for the creation of all-female or matrilocal households as an alternative to the heterosexual family. Jenny Somerville recognises that women's position has improved considerably, however. Lastly, difference feminism suggests we cannot generalise about women's experiences in this way. Lesbian, heterosexual, white, black women, etc. all have experienced different views. For black feminists, the family is often seen as a support against racial oppression. Counter-arguments, evidence against feminism. Arguments against liberal feminism. It's argued that liberal feminists fail to challenge the underlying causes of women's oppression and believe that changes in law or attitudes will be enough to bring equality. They assume that the traditional nuclear family is a dominant family type. It's a structural theory, and so it may be possible to criticise it from a micro or interpretivist point of view. Marxist feminism. Abolition of the family isn't a realistic idea. Some women need to seek support from their family as well, and it can be a source of comfort and of support. They assume the traditional nuclear family is the dominant family type. This may no longer be the case. It's also a structural theory, may be criticised for its obsession with class rather than individuals' relationships. Radical feminists fail to recognise that women's position has improved considerably, with better access to divorce, better job opportunities, control over their fertility, and the ability to choose whether to marry or cohabit. Separatism is unlikely to work. Heterosexual attraction makes it unlikely that the conventional nuclear family will disappear. They assume the traditional family is the dominant family type, and this may be changing. Once again, it's a structural theory which sees the two genders as opposed to each other, whereas individual men and women may not be. Lastly, arguments against difference feminism. This approach neglects the fact that, despite differences of class and gender and race, not gender rather, women do in fact share many of the same experiences. Compared with men, they face a greater risk of domestic violence and sexual assault, low pay, and so on. They also assume the traditional nuclear family is the dominant family type, and they are a structural theory as well. That concludes the evidence against feminism.